Happy Tuesday afternoon, everyone. It is Weather for Weather Geeks time. We're going to spend a lot of time talking about the threat for some big storms here later tonight and especially into the day tomorrow. But we'll first talk about the current weather picture as of the middle of the afternoon here on Tuesday. I'm recording this in the 2 o'clock hour. We've had more clouds today, certainly, some peaks of sun here and there. We've also had a few raindrops here and there. I was out hitting some golf balls over at Mill Creek at around 11 o'clock or so this morning, and there were a couple of sprinkles around. We've still got a couple of showers, particularly now from, say, Route 82 on north up into Ashtabula County, especially Geauga County, Lake County. Otherwise, it's a little on the cool side, only 64 here in the 2 o'clock hour. In Youngstown, 65 Newcastle, over towards Canton, Akron, it's in the mid-60s, only 61 in Ravenna. We've got the clouds, we've got a few peaks of sun off to the west, but notice a lack of big storms right now across a lot of the country. But this is the zone out in here across the Midwest and the Plain States that we're going to be keeping a close eye on as we head through the rest of this Tuesday and then especially into tonight. This zone through here is on the northern fringes of some warm and increasingly humid air. I'm going to take off the radar and the satellite here, and I'll show you what I mean. Here's a look at the temperatures as of the 2 o'clock hour. This is on the northern fringes of a pretty good dome of heat with a lot of 80s, even some 90s down here across the middle of the country. And then I'll throw up the dew points here, and you can see that the air is turning more humid out across the Midwest. Just a refresher on dew points, if you're a little rusty on this, we use this much more than relative humidity because dew point tells you a lot more about, the moisture content of the air. We can have a cold winter day when you're not thinking, oh, it's humid outside, but the humidity can be 90%. It really doesn't tell you anything. Especially during the spring and summer, we use dew point a lot as a more useful measure of how the air feels. And when we have dew points in the 60s, that means when you step outside, you start to notice, hey, it feels pretty humid out. When they're in the 50s, generally it can be a little bit noticeable, but generally we regard dew points in the 50s as comfortable in the summertime. If we get a cold front that comes through in July and knocks the dew points back to the 50s, oh, it feels refreshing outside. Right now, our dew points are down in the 30s. The air mass is still very dry, and that's why the precipitation is having a hard time really doing much more than sprinkling as we speak. But notice how much more humid it is here across the Midwest. And along the northern fringes of this is the zone we have to watch out for some thunderstorms to develop later on today. And I'll show you what I mean here. This is the Storm Prediction Center outlook for the rest of today and through 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. And the yellow area here is what they call the slight risk. I like enhanced risk more. The zone that has the highest potential of seeing severe weather occurring within it. The green area is more just general thunderstorms, severe weather, not all that likely. But the yellow zone is what we have to watch out for. And then we can break this down into percentages of certain events happening. Here's the Storm Prediction Center outlook for tornadoes from tonight into first thing tomorrow morning through 8 a.m. tomorrow. The yellow area is a 5 to 15% area, and what that means is that within 25 miles of any one location, grocery store, your house, whatever, there's a 5 to 15% of there being a chance of there being a tornado. The green area is 2 to 5%. That 2 to 5% zone gets over towards about Toledo and just east of I-75. Notice we're not in any sort of tornado outlook here across the Mahoning Valley. So the highest threat for a tornado through tonight is going to be around Chicago, maybe just south of Milwaukee, heading over towards South Bend, Indiana. And then hail, this breaks down like this. The green area is a 5 to 15% chance of large hail occurring within 25 miles, so there's a radius to these things. The yellow area here, the light yellow, is 15 to 30% chance of large hail, and then the darker, more mustard color here, that's a 30 to 45% chance of large hail. So Chicago, again, kind of epicenter for this potential outbreak of severe weather late today and into tonight. And then wind damage looks like this. Again, Chicago, generally the epicenter here, a 30 to 45% chance of there being wind damage from storms in this zone. The 5 to 15% chance does extend over into Youngstown, over into western Pennsylvania for wind and also hail. So what we're looking at here is the potential, I think, for late tonight, I mean real late tonight, maybe even after sunrise tomorrow morning, for some of these storms that get going off to our north and west to hold together enough that there's a small chance, anyway, of there being some hail and perhaps some pretty strong winds with these here very late tonight into tomorrow morning. Let's break down how this should play out with our computer models here. First of all, I'm going to show you the ingredients coming together for the potential for some big storms. If you looked at my blog this morning, ericwfmj.com, or you've seen me show this a few times on videos, convective available potential energy, long fancy meteorological term to describe the state of the atmosphere in terms of instability. It's the amount of energy available for storms to feed on. Thunderstorm fuel, if you will, if you want to put it in a real simple term. And anytime we get, generally speaking, as a rule of thumb, above 1,000 joules per kilogram of CAPE, that's when we start noticing that, hey, the atmosphere is pretty unstable. Well, this evening, this is at 7 this evening, the CAPE values at around Chicago are getting up well over 3,000 joules per kilogram, probably. This might be a little high, but still, that's significant. Notice the air is still not very unstable here across Youngstown this evening, right before sunset. I'm going to fast forward this to the middle of the night tonight. Here we are at, this would be 5 in the morning, and at this point the atmosphere is increasingly unstable. Now this is a little backwards from what we usually think. We usually think the afternoon is the most unstable part of the day. It's when the most heat is around, the humidity can be high, but this is a different situation. We have a warm front coming in tonight, ushering in a different air mass. The dry air mass we have now is going away, and it's being replaced by this more unstable, humid air mass. And so our instability is going up as we head through the night tonight. And then tomorrow morning at, let's back this up to 8 a.m. Notice the colors aren't as bright here. So I don't think that our instability is through the roof tomorrow morning, which leads me to believe that thunderstorms that get going in that air mass out here, as they dive south and east, will do some weakening. The question is, how much weakening? Hopefully it's enough weakening that we don't have severe weather tomorrow morning, and that's my gut feeling. There could be some loud thunderstorms, some thunderstorms that, sound mean and nasty, but probably don't fit the definition of severe weather. Hail an inch or larger, damaging winds, or at least winds of 60 miles per hour or higher. That's my gut feeling at this point, but this is not not a slam dunk. This is a tough forecast. So let's bring up what the radar should look like, at least according to this particular computer model, for tonight. This is the 4-kilometer NAM model I'm showing you. It's a higher resolution version of the North American model. These storms will initialize this evening. I'm going to back things up to about 7 o'clock. These storms will start to initialize as we head towards sundown. Notice not much going on at 7, and then we're going to go forward to 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and this is when things are starting to ramp up out towards Iowa, Illinois. 11 o'clock and midnight, and then 1 a.m. So it's going to be a loud night, it looks like, around Chicago, Milwaukee. The severe weather threat then, as we head towards the middle of the night, this is at 3 in the morning, we'll go through southwestern Michigan and head into northwestern Ohio. Now, typically, these things kind of outrun the models a little bit sometimes. In other words, the models don't pick up on the speed enough, so you might be able to take what you see here, which is supposed to be at 5 in the morning, and maybe advance this by a couple of hours. So this might be more like the 3 a.m. radar instead of the 5 a.m. if this were to behave, as a lot of these do. They pick up more speed than the models account for. And then as we head towards tomorrow morning, notice, things don't look quite as beefy here, but I do think there can be some showers and storms around at the start of the day tomorrow, and then the question is what happens after that. Whether we get severe weather or not tomorrow morning, we're probably going to at least see some rain. And that'll have somewhat of a stabilizing effect on the atmosphere overhead for at least a while tomorrow. As we get into tomorrow afternoon, things are going to start to ramp up again, but the question is where. Right now, I think odds favor a second round of big thunderstorms tomorrow, probably being roughly south of Route 30 or perhaps even south of Interstate 70. This might be more of an Ohio River Valley type of a thing for the afternoon and evening tomorrow. That's what we're hoping for anyway. We're hoping it stays out of our area. I think that's what odds favor now, but it's a fluid situation. I'm going to have much more in the way of updates throughout the evening tonight and into tomorrow morning as well. But right now, bottom line for you, we've got a chance for showers and thunderstorms very late tonight and tomorrow morning. Whether they're severe or not, I'm a little doubtful of, but it's not out of the realm of possibility. And then round number 2, tomorrow afternoon and evening, I think odds favor most of that being south of us, but I also can't rule out that, there's a little leeway there. They could come a little farther to the north. All right, day 2, severe weather outlook from the Storm Prediction Center. A lot of the area is in the slight risk, although it's mostly, again, south of Youngstown. So that's, again, something we'll be watching throughout the rest of the day today. I'm going to very briefly touch on the longer range here. End of the week, Thursday and Friday, largely dry, less humid. Might be a sprinkle. That'll about do it. Overall, pretty decent. And then the weekend looks great at this point. We've got Memorial Day coming up. Maybe there's a stray thunderstorm on Monday, but absolutely no rain. Lots of sunshine Saturday and Sunday. And long-range temperatures out through 16 days. A largely warm picture here. Black line in the middle is average. A lot of time above average. It looks like starting as we head towards the weekend, this coming weekend, and beyond. So this will encompass a lot of next week. So a little on the cool side Thursday, Friday, but starting this weekend and taking us into next week, overall, looks pretty darn nice, pretty warm, and increasingly humid. Unofficial start of summer we oftentimes think of as Memorial Day, and the weather is going to play along with that, it looks like, this year. All right, that's Weather for Weather Geeks on this Tuesday. I might have an update video this evening, taking a look at what's going on off to the west. And be sure and check out my forecast this evening on 21 News at 6 and 11. Thanks for watching.